The 2025 Gold Cup will be the last set of competitive games for the US men's national team prior to the 2026 World Cup. After that, we're only going to have friendlies to prepare, which is fine. We're going to have some good opponents like Japan and South Korea. But my point here is how important this Gold Cup actually is. Now, in the past two editions, the US men's national team sent a B or C team, whatever you want to call it. But for this one, we most certainly must send our best. With that said, who will Mauricio Pochettino call up? Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And today, I'm going to do what I do best, which is to predict things. I predict everything that has ever happened. That's why they call me the soccer Nostradamus. I just know everything that's going to happen in the future. And I'm going to predict the US men's national team 2025 Gold Cup roster. But before we start, here are a few things that you must know. Based on the CONCACAF rules, the roster must have a minimum of 23 players and a maximum of 26. So I'm going to assume that Pochettino will bring a 26-man roster. Also, according to Doug McIntyre, which is a reporter or a journalist, whatever you want to call him, the US men's national team will release its roster May 22nd. And in the same article that he reported that, he also kind of teased us that Gio Reyna might be left out. And you know, Doug is known for being a bit of a mouthpiece of the US Soccer Federation, which means most of what he reports is pretty accurate for the most part. And where there is smoke, there is fire. Or there's a guy smoking pot, one or another. You get the point. Now, some key players will also be missing, and I will address that throughout the video and explain why. But I do expect us to bring the best possible roster. Now, before we start this 26-man roster prediction, make sure to drop a like in this video right now just to make me happy. I'm waiting for it. Just do it right now. And let me know one player that is not expected to be there, but you think will be there. Sebastian Berhalter? That would be a crazy twist. Imagine Gio Reyna's not there, but Sebastian Berhalter's there. Well, whatever. And this video is brought to you by So Rare, but more on that later. Roll the intro and start the episode. Okay, why don't we start with the goalkeepers? And I believe he's going to bring 3 goalkeepers for the 2025 Gold Cup. And this is a position for the US men's national team where you just got to get on your knees and pray. And even if you do that, we're still screwed. So despite Matt Turner's mistake against Panama, you know, he still started against Canada. And I think Matt Turner is going to be in this roster. I believe he's going to be there. And I know this may sound lazy, but I do think that Pochettino will bring the same 3 goalkeepers that he brought into the Nations League, which means we're going to see Matt Turner, right? Zach Steffen, and Patrick Schulte from the Columbus Crew. The only difference is that he might actually rotate and test all 3 at some point because we do have 2 friendlies before the Gold Cup against Turkey and Switzerland. And in the Gold Cup group stage, you know, sometimes you have some pretty easy games. So I think he'll rotate them and they might all get minutes. But I think it's going to be Turner, Steffen, and Patrick Schulte. The other options would be, I don't know, a very young, promising Diego Cochin that is not ready right now. He's talented, but he has like no professional minutes, so there's that. Ethan Horvath, that's very meh. I don't know, Matt Freese from New York City FC. Look, the options ain't great. At the end of the day, it's one of those cases where you just kind of have to pick your poison. Okay, next up will be the fullbacks, and I believe he's going to bring 4 of them. And listen, the first 3, to me, they are locks. Anthony Robinson from Fulham, he's a lock. He's our best left back. Serginho Dest, he's back from his ACL injury, and he's playing for PSV. He's a lock. Serginho Dest will be there. Joe Scally from Borussia, not Dortmund, he will also be there. He is a lock. But the question is, who will be the 4th fullback? I don't think it'll be Marlon Fossey. He was one of the right backs that was in the previous camp in the Nations League, but he was most likely replacing an injured Serginho Dest. So let's not count on Marlon Fossey. It'll likely be a left back. And with that said, who will the 4th one be? Ideally, it would be Nathaniel Brown, the German-American left back that plays for Eintracht Frankfurt. He's incredible. He can play as a left back, he can play as a winger, and he could even challenge Anthony Robinson in the future. Very talented player, very good player that honestly might get called in by Germany sooner rather than later. Who knows? he's not going to come. Why? Because Pochettino doesn't believe in recruiting. And this is a player that would require some level of recruitment, probably a lot of recruitment, and that's probably not going to happen. So who will be the fourth fullback? And I guess that leaves us between John Tolkien, that is pretty much getting relegated in the Bundesliga, Caleb Wiley, that played for Watford after kind of not failing but getting injured and not playing much in Ligue 1, and I guess Arfston from the Columbus Crew, because he was there last camp. I mean, I hope he's not there. Sometimes I don't even think he's a fullback, but he is probably an option. And I think Caleb Wiley is the one that he's going to choose to bring in. He was healthy, playing consistently for Watford. There's talent. There's something there. We saw that when he played for Atlanta United in MLS. I think he's going to give Caleb Wiley a shot for this Nations League this summer. So just to recap, the four fullbacks that I think he's going to bring will be Anthony Robinson, Serginho Dest, Joe Scally, and Caleb Wiley. Next up, we have the center backs, and I believe that Pochettino will bring 5 of them. And look, none of them were good last camp, but I still think he's going to bring Tim Ream from Charlotte FC, Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, and Mark McKenzie from Toulouse. After that, who will he bring? Well, Walker Zimmerman has not been called in by Pochettino, and he also had a horrible head injury, and he hasn't played since early April at the time of this recording. So Zimmerman won't be there. Miles Robinson, when he got opportunities under Pochettino, he was pretty mediocre, and I don't expect him to make it to this roster. Noah Kai Banks would be another option. He's a great, promising ball-playing defender from Augsburg, very talented, but I doubt Pochettino brings him in this summer. I would as the 5th center back, but I don't think Pochettino will do it. Honestly, as lazy as this sounds, I think he's going to bring Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty once again. Similar to what I said with the goalkeepers, I think it's going to be the same that he called in for the Nations League. The same 5 center backs. We'll just see like different rotations. Maybe he'll give Richards and McKenzie another shot. He should. But we might see a different distribution of minutes. Who knows? So once again, I believe he's going to bring Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Austin Trusty. Now, before we continue, we're going to put a quick word from the sponsor of this video, SoRare, because I need to buy a new chair. This one's not comfortable enough for me. I need a better chair. My butt's hurting, my back's hurting. I need a new one. So we're going to use the money from this sponsor to get a new chair for Tactical Manager. And don't go anywhere, because the midfielders is where things start to get spicy. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Do you collect sports cards? Do you play fantasy sports? Yes, no, maybe. If you said yes to any of that, I got something for you. And if you said no, you might still want to stick around. Tactical Manager TV is partnering up with SoRare with a special offer. The link will be in the description. In SoRare, you can collect your own virtual cards of your favorite players. And then you may be asking, why would I want to collect virtual cards? Well, you can line them up on 5-a-side games every single week. And if your players perform in real life, you can win actual money, signed jerseys, game tickets, or even more cards to improve your own club. And you can also get unique experiences like a friend of the channel, Fiago, that got to meet Zinedine Zidane. You know what's also cool? They also have the NBA and Major League Baseball. I'm mainly gonna just stick to soccer, but you do you. What I really like about SoRare, before we even partnered with them, is that they're unlike other fantasy games where you have to pay per play. In SoRare, you pay to get the players you want permanently as cards, and then you can play multiple times using those same cards, at least until the player retires, win rewards if your players perform in real life. You can also buy undervalued player cards for cheap, then hold, use them in the future when they improve or develop, and then you can even sell that card when its value goes up for better ones. Or just keep the money yourself. And if you use the link in the description of this video, you will get $50 in credit after buying your first 5 cards through auctions or instant buy at any prices. Play with responsibility. All right, enjoy. Okay, we are back, and it's time to talk about the midfielders, where I think Pochettino will bring 7 midfielders total. And remember when I said that Doug McDonald teased the idea that Gio Reyna won't be there? I think Reyna won't be there. It's not that I agree or disagree with him. I think he knows something. And not because he will be with Borussia Dortmund in the Club World Cup, but because I think Pochettino won't call up Gio Reyna this summer. I don't agree with it if that happens, but it's also hard to make a case against it. Once again, I would call up Gio Reyna this summer. I think he needs to get minutes, and then once he gets a move or gets a transfer this summer, he'll be fine. But it's also hard to make a case against the decision of Pochettino not bringing him in. If that happens. But you know what should happen? Hit the like button right now. Okay, now Weston McKennie will not be available because he will be with Juventus in the Club World Cup. Yunus Musa is seen as a winger until proven otherwise by Mauricio Pochettino, so I'm not going to include him in the midfielder section. Now, I do think Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, and Diego Luna are locks with Pochettino this summer. Malik Tillman should be back in the roster, and he will be given a few opportunities to show that what he can do, which he hasn't really done at the U.S. men's national team. And Tanner Tessman will likely be back because he's been fine for Lyon. He's been getting opportunities, and he's had ups and downs with them this season, but I think Tanner Tessman does deserve another shot. So with Adams, Luna, Johnny, Tessman, and who's the fifth one that I forgot? Malik Tillman. We have 2 spots open. And with those 2 spots open, who will he call in? It's likely between Gianluca Busio from Venezia, Aiden Morris from Middlesbrough, Paxton Aronson from Utrecht, or I guess Eintracht Frankfurt because his loan is expiring, Brendan Aronson from Leeds, Jack McGlynn from Houston, and then Sebastian Berhalter from Vancouver. And listen, I would not call up Sebastian Berhalter. I watched a few of Vancouver's games, and he actually has been playing well. And the one against Inter Miami, he was also quite good. I wouldn't call him up, but his name has been rumored, so I thought I should at least mention it. And listen, I think that Mauricio Pochettino will actually bring the Aronson brothers this time. Brendan was good with Leeds in the championship, where he was serviceable, I would say, in a very good Leeds campaign, and he should be back after not being called in last camp. And Paxton will finally be given his opportunity that he most certainly has earned with great, tremendous performances in the Eredivisie. So my prediction for the midfielders will be Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, Diego Luna, Malik Tillman, Tanner Tessman, Paxton Aronson, and Brendan Aronson. Next up will be the wingers, and listen, we don't have much depth on the wing. And just like Weston McKennie, Tim Weah will not be available for the U.S. men's national team this summer because he's going to be with Juventus in the Club World Cup. And I believe Pochettino will bring 4 wingers. We know that Christian Pulisic, he's a lock. But who will be the other 3? Well, one will probably be Yunus Musa because Pochettino sees him as a winger, so Musa will be there. The other one will be Haji Wright from Coventry. They almost got promoted to the English Premier League. Haji Wright was not available for the previous camps because he was injured, but I expect him to be back for this one. And the 4th one will likely be Alejandro Zendejas from Club America. He's been quite good for Club America, and due to lack of options, because I don't know who else you call in on the wing, Alejandro Zendejas will likely be there. Yeah, so Pulisic, Haji Wright, Yunus Musa, and Zendejas. Our depth on the wing ain't great. But keep in mind that Malik Tillman can play on the wing if you need. Brendan Aronson can play on the wing if you need. Honestly, even Diego Luna. So we have good enough options to win the Gold Cup. Hey, one quick thing. Club America and LAFC will play for a spot in the Club World Cup. In that case, if Club America qualifies, Zendejas might not be available. And if he's not available, I don't know what Pochettino will do. Okay, but I just wanted to add that. They will play, I think, May 31st. So I don't know if that would affect Zendejas' spot in the roster. I just wanted to add that because it's important. But at the time of this recording, Club America is not in the Club World Cup. All right? Last but not least, we have the center forwards. And I believe Pochettino will bring 3 of them. First and foremost, Ricardo Pepi had knee surgery a few months ago and is not expected to be available. So in my prediction, Ricardo Pepi, that would be a roster lock, will not be there due to injury. Now, Balogun is definitely a roster lock, even though he struggled for Monaco this season, partially because of an injury, a shoulder injury, and also partially because he wasn't good for them when he played, for the most part, right? But Balogun will be a roster lock, and probably a lock to start for the U.S. men's national team. He is the best center forward that we have right now, and he should soak up most of the minutes. The second option will definitely be Josh Sargent. That was very good for Norwich in the EFL Championship, but not good for the U.S. men's national team in quite some time. Regardless, Sargent will be there. He will get other opportunities, and hopefully this time around he delivers. Now, the third option could be between Damian Downs, that plays in the 2nd division of Germany. I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't really watched him, so I don't have an opinion on this. But he was in the preliminary roster for the Nations League, and then he didn't make it. And we don't know if he didn't make it because Pochettino didn't want him there, or simply because he was injured. I think the actual two options for this camp will be between Brian White from Vancouver and Patrick Aguimon that plays for Charlotte FC. But Brian White has been much better in MLS this season, and he's been good in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I would not bring either one of those two. I would just bring Damian Downs to see what he's got, right? I don't even know if Damian Downs is better, but I would bring him in to see if he is, because mainly I don't think Brian White or Aguimon will be useful for the US men's national team in the future. So I would just test a different guy out. However, I think that Pochettino will bring the guy that's in good form, which is Brian White. So my prediction for the center forward position will be Balogun from Monaco, Josh Sargent from Norwich, and Brian White from Vancouver. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. The roster, the actual roster, will be out next week, May 22nd. And when it is out on Thursday, we will be doing a live stream reacting to it. And I'm looking forward to covering the US men's national team this summer in the Gold Cup. Hopefully we do well. And don't forget that early June, we will be playing with Tactical Managers Soccer Club in the TST tournament for $1 million. So if you're going to Cary, North Carolina to watch it and support us, thank you very much. If not, the games will be on YouTube and you can watch it. It's the biggest 7x7 tournament in the world. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to drop a like before you go, and have a great day.